What's up, everybody? It's your favorite show, Get a Bucket. I'm your host, Train, as usual. Hope you're all having a wonderful day today. Now, today we're going to talk about the Unrivaled League. It did end, but it was a good one. I'm not going to lie to you guys. And it does entice you for the upcoming 2025 WNBA season. So we got a lot to talk about. But before we do that, make sure you please like, subscribe, comment, tell anyone about the show. I'm trying to get the ratings up a little bit, just a little bit. But what we're going to talk about today is, of course, the Unrivaled League, like I said, the overall product, the unrivaled cons, if you will, right? And the streaming and marketing aspect of it. How did they do from my perspective? And then the effects on the WNBA season. So we got a lot of things to talk about. Let's start it off with about the Unrivaled League. So quick little recap. This was a league formed by Napheesa, Collier, and Breanna Stewart. For those of y'all who don't know, those are two of the stars in the WNBA, two of the faces I call of the NBA, of the WNBA. You got to list Angel Wilson as three-peat, or as the three faces, as the third face of the WNBA. But they formed it. They got $35 million in funding, right? And as a result, they formed 6 teams for WNBA rosters, of WNBA roster caliber players. Now, they got a pool of 34 players selected, and they divided it into 6 teams, like I said. And that was split between guards, wings, and bigs. Again, this does entice you for the WNBA season. And the Unrivaled League kind of showed me, you know what, I do like how they selected these players, because we got to see them selecting the players, the coaches, the actual coaches of the Unrivaled League, selecting the players before they knew which team they were going to coach. That means that they wanted to make the best teams possible. And you see the breakdowns, you see the comparisons, you see the formations, and it was wonderful to behold. And that's why the pairings looked as well as they did. And in fact, we got to give a shout out to the Rose Basketball Club, because they did win the inaugural season for the Unrivaled League. So we got to give a shout out to Brittany Sykes, Azrae Stevens, Kahleah Copper, Angel Reese, Lexi Hull, Chelsea Gray, and their head coach, Nola Henry. So again, the Unrivaled League, it was encompassing WNBA players, but the head coaches got to select the teams. I got to create the teams, got to form the teams. Ladies and gentlemen, I love that formation. I truly do. It gives you all-star vibes, right? Except we had more entertainment in the Unrivaled League. That's why I'm looking forward to seeing the NBA adapt. WNBA has it. Unrivaled League did pretty well. So that's about the Unrivaled League real quick, right? Now, the overall product, like I said, it was good games. It was good energy. Ladies and gentlemen, this was a good entertainment. And I can't wait to see the second season. How does it form? Do we get more than 6 teams? Would they encompass 5-on-5? Like, I'm curious. 2-on-2 maybe? Like, it was a 1-on-1 and 3-on-3 event. Mainly 3-on-3 with a 1-on-1 tournament during the season. This was good basketball. There's no ducking. You got to be able to defend. It ain't no easy peasy lemon squeezy. Whether you're a guard, whether you're a big, you got to be able to hoop. And yes, you don't have to have the most skill, but you got to want it more so than anybody else. Like Aaliyah Edwards actually beats Breanna Stewart, ladies and gentlemen. Aaliyah Edwards was just a rookie last year. Breanna Stewart is a multiple-time MVP, finals MVP as well, multiple-time champion, on her way to a GOAT conversation. And Aaliyah Edwards beats her? And it's no slight to Stewie either. Like, that's just what happens in one-on-one. That can happen. So again, ladies and gentlemen, this was a good entertainment game. And also, I gotta say too, the trophy, like the championship trophy, WNBA and really NBA, hell, a lot of sports need to follow what they did, because I like the way the trophy looked. The trophy was nice, bro. It was a cool crown. Like, I'm not a Game of Thrones fan, but I definitely thought, dang, maybe I should watch Game of Thrones now. Like, it looked pretty good. I can't hold y'all. But again, this league was good. It was extremely well organized. And then not to mention the additional means for women to get paid too. You got to talk about that. Like, the women averaged $220,000 in the Unrivaled League. That's pretty good. And in comparison, the WNBA averages $147. Now, keep in mind too, you do have way more players and teams in the WNBA. It's actually 13 teams in the WNBA as opposed to 6. And then you got 12 women rosters as opposed to, 5, maybe 6? So, again, it is a little bit of a disparity. That's why I'm curious to see how the second season goes. Because if we can get another team or two, this Unrivaled team could start rivaling the WNBA. And I wonder if the Unrivaled League would be unrivaled eventually. I've said that it could possibly happen. Second season would be interesting to see. So I'm putting my eyes on this. But now with all this good aspects of the Unrivaled League, what are some of the cons? Well, I kind of hinted to them, right? Because again, the pay disparity, yes, you get paid more in the Unrivaled League, but it's only a couple players. Some players do get to play overseas as well, too, though. So that is one thing to note. So it's not like players are just left out in the cold, but still, it would be cool to see the Unrivaled League expand. We're talking about 6 total teams, again, in comparison to the 13 WNBA. So that's 1/6 of the WNBA, and then you got 1/3 of the WNBA roster. Or, I'm sorry, half the WNBA roster, I'm sorry. Now that $35 million funding, that does help out. Can we get more? Again, 3-on-3 is cool. 1-on-1 tournament was nice. I did appreciate that. As fans, as spoiled fans, we will start to get a little, itchy to see what happens, what's new. So I would like to see the Unrivaled League start to do something new soon, because you do have to captivate the audience while it's here. Like, especially when you know that stars like Angel Wilson didn't play, Caitlin Clark didn't play, right? Like, people want to see Caitlin Clark. And I understand why Caitlin Clark did not play. You do have that aspect and worry of, is it going to affect the season from the WNBA perspective? Meaning, will players be tired? Because there is an off season, they do need to rest. You know what I'm saying? So that is a potential con as well, too. But again, ladies and gentlemen, not too many cons, because the Unrivaled League for me, it was good across the board. And again, some of those were even spoiled cons, like saying you have to improve soon. That's a little spoiled. But again, that's what they got to do at some point in time. And I'm thinking the sooner, the better. But let's go ahead and move on down from the cons and talk about the streaming and marketing platform real quick, because you might not know where to find it. You can actually watch it on Max, the Max app. It's pretty easy to watch, to be honest with you. And then you can also catch it on YouTube. The highlights were pretty captivating, not gonna lie to you all. And again, it's very easy to catch. So you cannot say, oh, well, I ain't catch it, I ain't have time, I ain't know. You heard from here. You've seen it across the board on ESPN and other platforms. Please show the ladies some love, ladies and gentlemen, because it was good. I can't lie to y'all. And again, 3-on-3 format primarily, with a 1-on-1 tournament during. Captivating. And I could say game-changing at this point, to be honest with you. But let's go ahead and move on that, because again, I'm not going to talk too much about the streaming and marketing. I thought it was all right. It was cool. The effects of the WNBA season, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm a little torn. Because, yes, women play overseas, but you might be playing more games over here, too, in this Unrivaled League. You could be. What if injuries happen, right? No, bump that. Expectations. I mentioned Kahleah Edwards beating Breanna Stewart in the Unrivaled League tournament, right? So the expectations of Kahleah Edwards might be high. Will Kahleah Edwards perform to those expectations? See, we give grace when we see injuries occur. But if we have expectations now, there's not as much grace. So there's more pressure now on some of these players, like Kahleah Edwards, like a Azrae Stevens, like a Napheesa Collier. When you say you're the best player in the tournament and you have Breanna Stewart in there, all right, cool. That means you now have to beat a Breanna Stewart. Keep in mind, your team did lose to the Liberty in the finals. Granted, it went 5. It went the distance. Still lost, though. So we do have to say there's more pressure on some of these players. So the Unrivaled League can add to the expectations on players. Also, let's say flip side to that, too. Breanna Stewart. What are your expectations of Breanna Stewart? Did she dip? We heard Chelsea Gray and how she dipped, right? Well, she turned it on in the Unrivaled League. So what happens if Chelsea Gray doesn't perform well in the WNBA season? That might have a negative implication on the Unrivaled League. Oh, the Unrivaled League is easier than the WNBA. Same with Breanna Stewart. If Breanna Stewart comes back and doesn't really perform well, okay, with Breanna Stewart, she lost a step. These are some of the expectations that could get placed on these WNBA players. So again, that might be something to note. How about, well, is Azurá Stevens undervalued? Because again, I mentioned her earlier, right? She was on the Rose team. She played well. She did her thing. She went to the Final Four, right? The semifinals in the one-on-one tournament. So you might be expecting more from Azurá Stevens. Again, expectations are going to be wild, or could be wild based on the Unrivaled League's production. So that's definitely something to note. Also, it is a little bit different to play in one-on-one and 3-on-3 in comparison to 5-on-5. It's a substantial difference. So I would say tweak those expectations because, again, the game format was a little bit different. 5-on-5 is not the same as 3-on-3 and 1-on-1. Also, let's keep in mind, too, the Unrivaled League does happen during Olympic play. So I would be curious what happens with that. Are they just going to be devoid of stars for one season? Because that would be interesting. Are they going to move the Unrivaled League? Are they going to cancel the Unrivaled? Like, what's going to happen during that time frame? 2028 is going to be an interesting time for the Unrivaled League for me. Personally, I'm looking forward to seeing how that unravels. But we also got to talk about, again, the impact on the WNBA season, like this upcoming WNBA season. Will the players who played in the Unrivaled League be tired? Will they start to have injuries due to lack of rest? Again, we have seen women play overseas during the offseason, so maybe that doesn't happen. But I would be curious to know if injuries start to tally up. I remember when, 2021 season for the NBA occurred, and there was a whole bunch of injuries because there was a lack of rest due to the pushback in 2020, right? The bubble year, the BS year, for me at least. So we did see an impact on that 2021 season. I'll be curious if the Unrivaled League has a similar impact on the 2025 season. Again, maybe not, but I'm just paying attention to see if it does impact the WNBA. And then also the Unrivaled players, right? Well, let's talk about the WNBA players as a whole, because you do have another avenue to play, right? And I know there were a couple players that were saying, you guys should pay us our worth or else we're not going to pay or we're not going to play. So what happens when new CBA talks occur? Will the Unrivaled League be in the back of some of these women's heads and say, hey, we can go play here and make more money in less time? They could. That is a possibility. I also got to see too if the Unrivaled League just is strictly for WNBA players. But again, that's another discussion for another day. But that could be a possibility. And the funding for or at least for the Unrivaled League, we know it at least occurred. How much more can they get? That's another discussion. But they do have funding, so maybe some WNBA players can say, "Hey, maybe we can do it on our own." I remember Kyrie Irving said the NBA players should form their own league. Maybe that could start with the WNBA. We'll see what happens, but I will be curious how this impacts the WNBA's season. So again, ladies and gentlemen, overall, I loved the Unrivaled League. It was very good, very entertaining, and I think the women hooped their tails off. Butt cheeks are still on the flow, all right? But overall, I am curious about how this will impact the upcoming WNBA season, as well as going forward, how will the Unrivaled League change? How will it adjust and adapt to the Olympic Games in 2028, in 2032, et cetera, et cetera. So those are a lot of storylines that I'm looking forward to seeing. But I want to hear your thoughts as well. What did you think about the Unrivaled League? Did you like it? Are you looking forward to the WNBA season? And did some of my gripes, question marks, resonate with you? Please let me know in the comments below. Please like, subscribe, comment, tell anyone about the show. My name is Trey. I'm the host of Get a Bucket. Hope you all are having a good one. Take care.